There are many champions that use Hextech Rocketbelt or Night Harvester as their mythic items, such as Rumble, Fizz, Akali, Diana, and more. Both these items have similarities and differences, however the question is, what is better? Is Night Harvester a good mythic to go compared to Hextech Rocketbelt? In this video we will examine the differences and see which item is truly a better item. Before we start the video, please check out my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/funparo. Link will be in the description, and I hope you enjoy the video. So let's go into the details of the differences and similarities between Rocketbelt and Night Harvester and see which one is truly better. So let's first look at Hextech Rocketbelt. The components of Hextech Rocketbelt include Hextech Alternator, which is made up of 2 amplifying tomes. It also includes a ruby crystal and a blasting one. In terms of the stats of the item, you gain 90 ability power, 15 ability haste, 250 health, and 6 magic pen. And in terms of your active, you gain a dash of about 125 to 275 units in a certain direction, but you cannot dash through terrain. And at the same time of your dash, you're also releasing an arc of damage, and that includes 7 rockets that are being fired all in the same direction, and they deal 125 plus 15% AP and magic damage. And after you dash, you also gain 30% bonus movement speed while moving towards nearby enemy champions for about 1.5 seconds, and the cooldown of this item is 40 seconds. So now let's get into Night Harvester. So the components are pretty much the same. You have Hextech Alternator made up of 2 amplifying tomes, you have your ruby crystal, and you have a blasting one. In terms of the stats of the items, they're also pretty similar, but there are some differences here. You gain the 90 ability power, you gain your 15 ability haste, but this time you gain 300 health. In terms of your passive, the damage is the same. You have 125 plus 50% AP bonus magic damage, except now you are granted 25% bonus movement speed for 1.5 seconds, and this duration is increased after you damage new champions, and the cooldown of this item is 40 seconds per champion. And now we'll go into the similarities and differences. So they have the same price, 3,200 gold, and they both have the same build path, Hextech Alternator, Blasting 1, Ruby Crystal. They both give you 90 ability power, they both give you 15 ability haste in the passive, and then you also have the damage in your active, which is the same, which is 125 and the plus 15% AP and magic damage. So now let's go into the differences. Rocketbelt does give you more movement speed, it's an active of 30%, but it's towards enemy champions, and versus Night Harvester, which gives you 25% movement speed. In Rocketbelt, you have a mythic passive, which I didn't mention before, but the mythic passive gives you 5 magic penetration for every legendary item that you purchase, versus Night Harvester and its mythic passive gives you 5 ability haste per every legendary item that you purchase. In terms of health, Rocketbelt does give you a little bit less health, 50 less health compared to Night Harvester. It's 250 health on Rocketbelt versus 300 health on Night Harvester, and the Rocketbelt also gives you a passive 6 magic pen, which Night Harvester doesn't. So first we need to understand how magic penetration works to understand all of this. So if there is an X amount of flat magic penetration, the target will be damaged as if the magic resistance was reduced by this X amount. So let me explain this using an example. Let's look at Sorcerer's Shoes. Sorcerer's Shoes gives you 18 flat magic pen. If an Ornn or any other target has 100 magic resistance, the Sorcerer's Shoes user will damage the target as if the target has 82 magic resistance. But in fact, the target still has 100, it's just that we as a champion that have the magic pen are going to damage the target as if it had 18 less. 100 minus 18 is 82. So now let's put this into context. So looking at Rocketbelt, and we look at a full build that doesn't include Void Staff and Sorc Shoes, which just includes Rocketbelt, Ninja Tab Eyes, and a full build. And altogether that gives you 26 flat magic pen. So let's say the target has 100 magic resistance and 1000 HP, and I'll go into the reason of why I mentioned the HP here. So 100 magic resistance leads to a 50% damage reduction towards magic damage. So this is where the 1000 HP comes in, and the concept of effective HP. Effective HP is the HP value that is gained from having resistances. So have you ever wondered why when you look at your damage charts after you died, the amount of damage that is done to you after you died is a lot more than your HP bar, and that's due to resistances. Some of it also might be due to passive health regen or health regen that you have, but a lot of it comes from resistances. So when you have a 50% damage reduction towards magic damage, if you have a target that does 1000 magic damage, it will only do 500 magic damage to this target. And that means that in order to kill this target who has 1000 true HP, we'll have to do 2000 magic damage to kill it. So therefore, the effective HP is about 2000 with respect to magic damage from the true HP, which is 1000. So now let's apply what we mentioned before with the reduction MR, but not actually happening. And your new effective target magic resistance will be 74 magic resistance. 100 minus 26 is 74. So this new magic resistance is 47.1% damage reduction. So now with 47.1%, it'll take about 1,739 magic damage to kill this target. So let's make some conclusions from this. It takes about 261 effective HP less to kill a target with this quote-unquote 74 magic resistance relative to the 100 magic resistance. So let's put this into context. Some league items do give HP or health, and an example would be Randuin's Omen, which gives you 250 health, which is less than the effective HP less value here in the 261. And looking at Spectre's Cowl, a magic resistance item, it gives you 250 health, and Spirit Visage, which is what Spectre's Cowl builds into, gives you 450 HP. So pretty much what you're doing with this Rocketbelt build is you're making the enemy pay more gold and gaining less value from their items, because you're pretty much negating some of the HP that they're gaining from this item, and you're just making people pay more for less. So now let's look at Night Harvester. So Night Harvester, when Ninja Tabis and full build, wouldn't exclude any other ability haste that comes from it. We're just going to look at what Night Harvester gives and the passive ability haste that you got. And altogether you get 35 ability haste. So that's equivalent to about 25.93% cooldown reduction. So if we had a 10-second ability, it will become 7.407 seconds at cooldown. 70-second ability becomes 51.849 seconds. And 100 becomes 74.07. Now let's compare this to Rocketbelt, which has the 15 ability haste on its passive. So a 10-second ability will have become an 8.696 second cooldown, and that's a 1.289 second difference relative to a Night Harvester full build. And for a 70-second ability, you have it become 60.872 seconds, which is a 9.023 second difference. Again, truly emphasizing the fact that you have to be full build for this difference to occur. And then 100 second ability becoming an 86.96 second cooldown, and that's a 12.89 second difference. So what can we learn from what we've just seen? So I'm going to conclude that Rocketbelt is just better. The health on the items, while less on Rocketbelt, is a non-factor in terms of determining what is better. We don't really build these items for their HP, they're just luxuries that are added to the item. And Rocketbelt also gives you more control of your movement speed. So what do I mean by this? Rocketbelt is an active, and after you use this active, you gain this burst of movement speed. Versus Night Harvester, which you have to aim and hit your ability onto a champion, then you get this burst of movement speed, and also less movement speed versus Rocketbelt. And then it will only increase if you hit other champions. So if you randomly hit another champion of this, you're just getting these boosted movement speed that you really can't control. Versus Rocketbelt, it's a flat 40-second cooldown. It's not based on the cooldown's not based on certain champions, and you don't have to worry about these extra timers. Your Night Harvester, and Rocketbelt, you just have more control of your movement speed. And now let's go into the ability haste of Night Harvester. So we did see differences, but the question is, what is the practicality of that? When will we be full build? I mean, it happens, but we have to consider that you have to be full build for these differences to occur. And also, when will this 1 second, approximately 1 to 10 second difference in your abilities make a difference in terms of winning a fight or not? And it's pretty rare. To combine this, you have a very small practical sense of use of Night Harvester. And just looking at the math, Rocketbelt also just does more damage, and therefore Rocketbelt is just the better item. So I'd like to thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to like and subscribe. Please leave a comment down below what your thoughts were on the video and what you would like to see next. And I hope you enjoyed the video and have a great day.